Hi, welcome to the live chat on My Views on News. Can you hear me? Thank you. Three and three is the first one to comment today, first one to respond. Welcome, three and three and others. Uh, Before welcoming you, just a quick uh, glimpse of what is going to happen in this live chat, what we're going to discuss. Firstly, we'll talk about the frustration within the ranks of Ethiopian military. I am not talking about the rumors, but based on some statements of top ENDF leaders, it is clear that Ethiopian military is frustrated. Secondly, Isaias Afwerki's strange logic. He talked about opposition. He was asked, a question was asked from Isaias Afwerki about political opposition, political reforms in uh, Eritrea. What did he say? We have details of his answer, an analysis of his answer for you. And secondly, a roundup of today's main developments, because some viewers miss videos. So in the live chat, I'll do a roundup of last 12 hours main developments to keep people updated. But before all this, let me welcome those who have joined. Three and three, the first one who have commented, Sabakasa, Nahome Asefa, Wande Farao, Ayele, Salim Muhammad, Michael Kidane, Burji Suyama, a name in Amharic. Hello, sir, how are you? Mom Tube, Daniel, I'm fine. Daniel, Zalak Hale, Zita Mob, Lalisa Kabede, Shafu, well, Samuel Faleke, A, Zilalam, Tamasgan, 3 and 3. Good thing about this viewership is that I now know a little about Amharic, Oromo, Tigrinya names. I am finding all names here from Amhara, from Oromia, from Tigray, from other regions. That is the beauty of my views and news. Then we have Yes, East Afro Dude, A, Angesom, Yimanefisseha, Kaslas, Abe Kareo, Duga, Ilma, Waka, Jonjo, Surafil Yilma, Akon City, WTF. We have Shani News, Tisfalam, Tikliab, Koryam, and several others, Bintu, several others who have joined. So I apologize if I miss names. Iri Asmara or Asmira from Eritrea. Salsavi Theodros says hi. Salsavi is very critical of me, but he makes lots of corrections. So I welcome his corrections because he, I think, keeps himself updated. I would be surprised if I come to know that he is a journalist by profession. That's my guess, by the way, Salsavi. Maybe a researcher, a journalist, or he keeps himself updated. Eklilo, Mbaye, Abebe, Debebe, Zilalam, Tamasgan, Robel Asefa, Josias Zina. Don't forget Bin. No, I won't. I think I mentioned his name. Mascot. Then we have Robel Asefa. Some name in Amharic I cannot read. Geese. Afram Tesfaye. Good evening from, I can't read the words written. Good evening. Now, let me just share a roundup of today's main developments. Yini Musica, one of my regular viewers. Welcome, Yini. Michael Gameskel, Mars Attack. Let me just share a brief roundup of, we know that Burhan arrived in Addis Ababa today. Burhan, head of Sovereignty Council, Sudanese military chief. And Abiy welcomed him himself. Abiy went to Addis Ababa airport to welcome him. A good thing that Abiy did not give the cold shoulder to Burhan, at least publicly. It was seen that Abiy warmly welcomed Al Burhan. Peace and love has joined too. He's also one of my regular viewers. Burhan, there is crucial viewers, at least to some extent, we can say, to the extent of Sudan, Ethiopia is coming out of isolation. Otherwise, Ethiopia has been totally isolated. Burhan visiting all the neighboring countries except Ethiopia. So, at least now he has visited Ethiopia, though in the end. Burhan needs recognition. He wants neighboring countries to recognize him as the legitimate leader of the country, ruler of the country. So he came there. We'll share complete details of the visit in coming videos. So today is one of the main developments. Secondly, US is going to resume aid supplies to Ethiopia, to entire Ethiopia, including Tigray, from next month. We know that in May, aid supplies were suspended because of aid theft allegations. And USAID, World Food Program, inquired into the allegations and they found aid being stolen, sold at local markets, smuggled too. So they suspended aid deliveries. And now aid delivery, food aid delivery, going to resume next month. Thirdly, Mohabao, Fantahun Mohabao, top Fano commander, survived a few hours ago when a drone strike was conducted on his convoy. He narrowly escaped, reportedly. It happened in Wollo, where Fano fighters have made several territorial gains in the past few days. He is safe, but some Fano fighters died. I confirmed that through some people close to Fantahun. Fourthly, arrests of journalists continuing in Tigray too. In Tigray, a journalist who fought alongside TDF was arrested a few hours ago. Desta Gebremaden is his name, and he's the one who quit his BBC job and went to the forest, went to the mountains to fight alongside TDF. But he has been arrested over his reporting. Then Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, we talked about him a little in a video. He's back home. Abebe is saying that he has been released. Good to see, good to know if he has been released. Eritrean president is back home. I think he's the last African leader who left Riyadh. All of the leaders left before him. So he was the last one. So he stayed there, met with the Saudi Crown Prince, was interviewed by Saudi state television, and he held several meetings in Saudi Arabia. So he made the most of this opportunity to form, to develop, to expand ties with African countries, with Arab countries, it seems. This was a brief roundup of today's main developments. We'll have a look at two main developments, two main news stories, which I want to cover in this live chat a little later. I think after weeks, you are support PP. Getnet is saying, why would I support PP? Ethiopia, the big country in East Africa, but the less focused, even much less than the segmented one, Sudan, because of the leader. Yes, Ethiopia is not getting its due place. I attribute this shortcoming to the war. I think the war set things in motion. 2-year-long war devastated Ethiopia economically, in terms of regional clout, in terms of internal unity. So Ethiopia needs time now to recover from 2-year-long war. It cannot afford a new war. But conflict in Amhara doing rather ongoing, Eritrea Ethiopia tension rising a little, no de-escalation so far. All this is not in Ethiopian interest. Ethiopia needs to recover, regain its status, which is being stolen by Kenya very discreetly. Ethio military imminent collapse, TSN says. Maybe you're saying because I wrote in the title that there is frustration in military. I'll come to it a little later. I don't think military is collapsing. There are issues. IIWG. Hello, Sajid. By the way, my name is Sajid, Sajid. Some people call me Sajid, especially Ethiopians. I am Sajid, Sajid. Salsavi, Sudan have a chance of being divided like Libya. Yes, you're right, Salsavi. It's already divided. But I think in Libya, both factions have been recognized. But in Sudan, so far, RSF lacks recognition. Recognition is being held by Al Burhan. Main problem for RSF is that though RSF is in Khartoum, regional capital, still RSF only has discrete ties with countries like UAE, others. They're backing RSF. RSF have no real recognition. This is the main problem for RSF. In Libya, things, I think, a bit different. What would be the decision of TPLF on Red Sea issue? I think TPLF made itself clear a few days ago when Getachew spoke. If you remember, he was interviewed on Tigray TV. He said, Tigray won't be part of any war. Tigray does not want its territory to be a battleground for new wars. If there is problem between Ethiopian federal government and Eritrean government, it should be resolved through dialogue. Tigray can play its part too. Tigray does not want to be part of the war. That is what their official position is, position of TPLF leaders. But will they abide by this stated position, or will they back some party? That remains to be seen. Adonias Jiman, thank you for the reliable information you share. This is one of the rare YouTube channels that maintains accuracy. Your professionalism is highly appreciated. Thank you, Adonias. Nisabho says that Desta Gebremaden leaked contents of discussion held in closed meetings. Now he has been released. Cabri Girme, his hi Sajid, did you see how Abi's body language was yesterday when he was talking to the parliament? How frustrated and angry he looked. He knows he made a political suicide in the last 40, a month ago. I think you're talking about his position regarding Red Sea access. Well, I found him very determined, by the way. Maybe my reading is not correct. But about port issue, I found him very determined. I don't think he's issuing hollow threats. I don't think that the threats came out of the blue. No, I think he's very clear. He won't stop, I think. Which means will he adopt? This is the question. Diplomatic means, some other tactics, proxy war. Obviously, no direct war so far possible. I've been saying no war is imminent. From day one, I've been saying no war is imminent. but there could be other types of conflicts or other types of tactics used by the governments, parties to the conflict. Minilik D. Sajid, glad to see you again. Thank you, Minilik. Important comment from Lalisa. He says how Tigray can be free from the impact of Eritrea Ethiopia war. Yes, you're right. It will be difficult for Tigray to stay aside. So it will be drawn into the conflict, but Tigray uh, cannot afford a new war. At this point of time, Tigray cannot afford a new war. Any information about South Wallo? I think that I talked about the drone strike on Fantaon Mawa. It happened in South Wallo. AZ King has joined. Thank you, AZ King. And South Wallo, in South Wallo, we have seen several uh, territorial gains by Fano fighters in the last few days. I think they entered Vichale twice. They entered, they were operating close to Robit, close to Vergasa, close to Hayek, and they were considering a move towards Dassi. Military was largely seen withdrawing towards Dassi because in the town cities to the north of Dassi, pressure was mounting on military. Adis Kana too, one of my members has joined. Welcome, Sajid. Welcome, Adis Kana too. Thank you, AZ King, for buying this super chat sticker. I don't call that an opportunity, Sajid. Isaias is already gone crazy because of the port. For sure, he is going to lose it. I don't agree, by the way. Isaias is playing his cards very smartly. I criticize him a lot, by the way. Criticize him for the human rights record in Eritrea because of lack of democratic reforms in Eritrea, because of lack of freedom of expression, freedom of justice, freedom of movement, freedom of religion in Eritrea. But when it comes to regional politics, the man is very seasoned. He reads the region very well, I think. And it's mainly because he has been playing games here for decades. So I don't think that he has gone crazy. He's working very smartly, and he is creating a front against Abiy. By the way, when he was in Saudi Arabia, his return, by the way, there he tried to build a narrative. He talked to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, he was there, and he said that all of us are Red Sea countries: Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Somalia too. Red Sea security should be a joint concern. If any intruder tries to enter Red Sea, all Red Sea countries should join hands. Why did he try to build this narrative? He tried to form an alliance against Ethiopian government. He asked the Red Sea countries to support his position, to send a strong message to Ethiopia, to give a shut up call to Ethiopia. Isn't it a very smart diplomatic move? He's preventing war diplomatically. He's preventing war by talking to neighboring countries, talking to Red Sea countries. So I personally think that his diplomatic speed is faster, much faster than Ethiopian PM Abiy's speed. The Watcher, the Watcher and AZ King discussing something. GMHH. Sajid, keep up the good work. Do you think that Abiy intentionally wants prolonged conflict in the Amhara region? It's a very important question. Does Abiy really want a prolonged conflict in the Amhara region? I think we can see it both ways. A prolonged conflict is going to hurt Ethiopia. Already hurting. We uh, I reported last night that the third Ethio Telecom license sale could not attract any bids. Why? Because of instability, because of conflict in Ethiopia. This conflict is hurting Ethiopia. It will hurt Ethiopia more. You'll see that. Ethiopia already facing shortage of foreign exchange reserves, lack of hard currency, and you'll see more consequences of this conflict. But internally, Abiy wouldn't want a united Amhara front to challenge his government. So maybe a prolonged conflict suits him, as long as the conflict is under control. But the situation, I think, is not under control. Fano fighters start sometimes, they launch sometimes lightning strikes, blitzkriegs. In just hours, they enter big town cities and they make a mockery of the work which has been done by military so far. Josias, according to Brigadier General Zaidu, the security structure of Lake City has demonstrated that it is in a position to fulfill its duty by lining up alongside the army. Sure, I don't think so. I'll come to that in this video because this is part of the topic. Why is Ethiopian military frustrated? Eritrean activists are flexing a war against Ethiopia. What do you think the outcome of? I agree that since PM Abiy spoke more than 3 weeks ago about the Red Sea, Eritrean activists have been waging war on Ethiopia. Almost on daily basis, they criticize Ethiopian PM, Ethiopian government, using sometimes very strong words against Ethiopian PM Abiy, calling PP, Prosperity Party, PP, as PWE, calling ENDF, ONDF, Oromoma National Defense Force. They have joined those who are wholeheartedly supporting Afano fighters. Though, if you remember, Eritrean government said in response to PM Abiy's statement, in its first statement, that Eritrean government supporters should stay calm, no need to be provoked. But I think discreetly, Eritrean government is backing these activists, telling them to continue this rhetoric, this narrative of pressure against Ethiopian government. What do you think about the future status of Al-Qaeda and Raya? Interesting question. Again, I think federal government has made its position clear. Now there are no doubts what federal government is thinking. What is Tegarai going to do? I think ball is in the court of Tegarai. Federal government, to some extent, Amhara regional government, they are behind the 4-point solution proposed by federal government in a statement a few days ago. Tigray is not agreeing with this solution. Gata Jorada said no referendum can be held until new regional council is elected which will make a decision whether a referendum should be held or not, and that interim government's authority must be extended to Raya and Volgai. So Tigray interim government is rejecting federal government's 4-point solution. How far will Tigray go in opposing this new solution? What will Tigray do? So answer to your question depends upon Tigray's position, I think. And discussions underway, 2-day talks held in Makale. I'm trying to find information from inside. Hopefully, I'll share information from inside about the meeting in Makale in coming hours. If any of you has information from inside, do contact me. Sajid 672 By the way, lots of people contact me on daily basis. People from all regions of Ethiopia, from Eritrea, opposition, Brigade Nihamado, Eritrean government people, Ethiopian government people, some ambassadors, foreign ambassadors, NGOs, aid organizations, UN people, journalists, former military officers, activists, students, researchers, some pro-Fano, anti-Fano, pro-Ola, anti-Ola, representatives of Ola, Fano representatives from Tigray, and these people keep me updated, honestly. I learn from them. We disagree on lots of issues, but still they respect me. I respect them because they perhaps believe that my views on news is not influenced by anyone. Happily, they share information with you. Very silent work. I think she's back. Sarah Michael is asking. I think she is back. She returned yesterday, I think. Let's come to the topic now. Two important news stories for you in this live chat. Let me speak a little, then I'll take your questions. I'll respond to your questions. Give me a little time to speak. You can comment, but don't write questions. You can write questions after my talk is over. Firstly, Abraham Bale is Ethiopian Minister of Defense. Top man in security structure in Ethiopia is Minister of Defense. I think technically, Field Marshal is under Minister of Defense because military is under civilian politicians. Abraham Bale appeared before a committee of House of Representatives. Their questions were asked about the performance of Ethiopian military, that how is military performing in Ethiopia, especially in Amhara. Most of the questions were about the Amhara region because now active conflict is in Amhara region. In other regions, relative calm. So question was asked, then why is military still unable to control the situation? Armed groups are operating in the Amhara region, and military could not bring situation under control. So what is the reason? Where are the shortcomings? Where do shortcomings lie? What is the main problem? Abraham Bella responded. He said what I've been saying, by the way. I've been saying militaries are not for deployment in town, cities. Militaries don't do law and order work. Militaries are deployed on borders. That is what they are trained to do. That is what they should do. Because if militaries become controversial, they lose the support of people. Militaries always try to ensure that country is behind them. that entire people behind them. That is how in wartime situations they get public support, that they are liked in entire country. Once military is involved in law and order work, it means that their impartiality is damaged, and the patriotic support that they get in entire country is disturbed. Militaries generally don't want to be involved in civil wars, in internal conflicts. Militaries are not trained to do that, by the way. Abraham Ballet made it very clear that military is not for deployment to each and every cabinet. Each and every cabinet is demanding that military should come and clear the area. Where is militia? Where is regional police? The local level, cabinet level, or Wareda level security issues should be handled by local police, local militia members, and local administrators, prosperity party members. But local prosperity party members, government administrators, they want military to handle each and every conflict in the Amhara region, starting from cabinet level to regional level. He said this is not the responsibility of the military. And he acknowledged that military's deployment has expanded in the Amhara region. So, in a way, he said military is overstretched. He didn't use the word overstretched, but he said expanded. He meant to say military is overstretched in the Amhara region. Military cannot be deployed in each and every cabinet. This cabinet should be secured by the local level militia and police members. And he said that military's job was to protect constitutional order in the region, to protect the government. Military has fulfilled its responsibility. It has achieved its target. Government is intact. Now it's the responsibility of regional security forces, police and militia, to take over the affairs, to be in charge of security. I think that this statement of Abraham Ballet is acknowledgement of the gravity of the situation in the Amhara region. I've been saying that regional security structure has collapsed in the Amhara region, and that is what I think Abraham Ballet confirmed indirectly. He said that in each and every cabinet, administrators are demanding deployment of military. It means that regional security structure is collapsing. Militia police cannot operate without support of Ethiopian National Defense Force. And how long can military remain deployed to the Amhara region? We were talking about the consequences of this conflict a few minutes ago. Economic impact is going to be big. Deployment of tens of thousands of soldiers with all their weapons in region for months would require a huge sum of money. This is the news which I want to share with you, that there is frustration in the ranks of Ethiopian military, that how long can it fight? It has managed to protect the government, regional government. Now, security structure should take over, but security structure is unable. It is not in a position to take over, to be in charge of security affairs. Ebenezer Gobeze has written a question several. Please don't write a question more than once, please. What is the response of official Somaliland government on Ethiopian port request? Please don't write a question more than once. I read the question, but I'll respond to it later. I don't know if government has made an official request to Somaliland's government. I don't know. They made a request. They were part of Berbera Port project, but the government, Ethiopian government people but they could not honor the commitment. So I am not aware of any new contact between Ethiopian government and Somaliland's government. So this is the position of Ethiopian military. It does not want a prolonged conflict in the region, Amhara region. It does not want to remain deployed in the Amhara region forever, but it is witnessing the collapse of PP, collapse of militia and police. Can it prop up police and militia to replace ENDF? That remains to be seen. By the way, I don't see police and militia being in a position so that ENDF can withdraw. The day Ethiopian military withdrew from the Amhara region, you would see Fano sweep across the Amhara region. That is my analysis for days, for almost weeks, I would say. Egizyabir Yemesgan says, Sajid, you believe PP will lose power? PP so far is not in danger. Why? Because who is going to replace PP, by the way? Any party which you think can replace PP? PP is not allowing any other parties to flourish, to form alliance, to mobilize people. So opposition is split. Opposition, no genuine perhaps opposition, no one genuine opposition leader in Ethiopia. Opposition is split along ethnic lines. In Oromia, there is Jawar. In Tigray, there is Debrecen, but this opposition is also like government now because it is now an ally of Ethiopian government, you can say. Then in Amhara, opposition Nama is part of the government. Other opposition is fighting in the battlefield. Political opposition is missing. I think what is needed is that if not in Ethiopia, at least abroad, these opposition parties should unite. Opposition parties from all regions, from Amhara, Oromia, Tigray, Somali, Afar, other parts, they should hold discussions. They should form a committee with participation of all the parties to form a joint opposition against PM Abiy's government. That is their right, by the way. Opposition parties have right to continue peaceful political struggle. It's not a conspiracy if they do that. But that forward thinking is missing. All parties, each party is only focused on the region from where it is. It only raises issues of that region only. LM Gizao says, the intentionally got rid of opposition, so there is no replacement. Yes, he crushed opposition basically. And that is what most of African leaders do, that they crush opposition. They don't let opposition organize. Diaspora, what's the power of a coup in Ethiopia? Nisebho says, I think I spoke about that yesterday. There are Republican guards to protect Ethiopian PM Abiy. That is what Abiy did when he came to power, that he formed this specialized wing to protect the government against coups. The major task of Republican guards is to protect the government, to protect parliament, to protect Ethiopian PM Abiy. So no likelihood of any coup. Zarisine Semedar says, what is your take on the way Eritrean economy is run? Why economic activity is curtailed? Any parallel historical examples you can analyze? By the way, we don't know about Eritrean economy. What is Eritrean budget? What does Eritrea import? What does it export? What is how much is its GDP? Everything is shrouded in mystery. And I think Eritrean government deliberately uh, curtailed independent businesses in Eritrea because of some sanctions, because it wanted to be in charge. It does not want to be reliant on dollars. It does not want its economy to be hurt by lack of dollars. That is why Eritrean government took some decisions in the past, but those decisions were very costly decisions. Eritrean diaspora, some community members are very rich. They are in a position to invest in Eritrea. By the way, they have investments in other African countries. They don't invest in Eritrea. Why? Because there is no business atmosphere in Eritrea. Eritrean government has everything in its hands. It is operating secretly. There is no transparency. So who will invest in Eritrea? No one, I think. Thank you, East Afro Dude. Appreciate the work you do. Keep it up. Thank you, East Afro Dude, for this super chat sticker purchase. Now, the second uh, topic of today's live chat, which is about Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president's remarks about opposition. By the way, years ago, he was asked a question about elections. He said, "What election? Elections don't mean democracy." And he ruled out the holding of election decades ago, and he stood by his words, by the way. He's a man of commitment when it comes to denying democratic reforms in Eritrea. Uh, Isaias Afwerki was interviewed in Saudi Arabia by Al Akhbariya, and questions were asked. Questions about uh, regional politics, Red Sea, Saudi Africa cooperation, question about Eritrea too. That is Eritrea planning to introduce political reforms in the country or not? And he responded to this question, though, by the way, Sasavaki uh, does not know how to handle those questions which he does not like. We saw that in Kenya, his embarrassment was on display in Kenya when he and William Ruto held a joint press briefing, and international media was there. International journalists asked some tough questions about democratic reforms, about succession. Isaias Afwerki was embarrassed and embarrassing. He was looking towards William Ruto to rescue him. So he perhaps is bad. He's not a good communicator when it comes to handling international media. But he can speak for hours if he's being interviewed on Array TV because their questions are of his choice. So he can go on and on there. He responded to that question about political reforms in Eritrea. Someone with an Amharic name also contributed. Thank you. I cannot read your name. Thank you. So he said there is no opposition in Eritrea. Why? Because there is cohesion, there is unity, and the EPLF struggle molded the entire nation into a united group. So we are united. No need of having any uh, elements which are anti-peace because we are united. And why did they interview him? Titi Oveldo is asking. Well, he was interviewed because he was there. Maybe he wanted to be interviewed. He wanted to send a message to Saudi government that he is one of the top African leaders, though he's from a small country. I think his team managed his presence well there. Uh, he was interviewed on Saudi TV. He met with the crown prince. He was seen shopping, mingling with people. Then he was photographed with an Eritrean girl who came to the hotel where he was staying. And that story was also spread by his team there. His team did a good job there. So he said that we are united. The society has turned into a cohesive, united society. There is no opposition in Eritrea. Yes, there are sometimes there is difference of opinion which happens. Those who claim to be opposition sitting abroad are mercenaries. Use the word mercenaries, hired killers. So all the opposition groups based abroad are mercenaries, according to Isas Aboki. He says all these groups consist of mercenaries. They are working against Eritrea, and they are working against Eritrean people, Eritrean interests. That is by the way, his logic is that this logic is surprising for me. His logic is that there is no need of opposition in Eritrea because we are united. Question is, will he ever allow some sort of referendum or election in Eritrea to know if Eritrean society is united or not? How can a government deliver if there is no criticism, no healthy criticism? World has learned after centuries of experience that opposition and government are two pillars. If one of the two pillars is missing, if opposition is missing, government cannot deliver in a transparent manner. Opposition's role is not destabilization. It should not destabilize the government. It helps the government improve. It points out the shortcomings of the government. It is a voice for those who criticize the government. But Isaias Afwerki has his own way of governance. He does not want to see any opposition in Eritrea, and he defends it. He defends it, and his people. My uh, difference of opinion with Eritrean pro-government activists is that they blindly support Isaias Afwerki's government just because the critics are from Tegarai. So they say that they blindly support the president. This is the main problem. I am appreciating Isaias Afwerki for his diplomatic skills. At the same time, I'm saying Isaias Afwerki, his logic that there should be no opposition in Eritrea does not make sense. We should analyze the intentions, the performance of these rulers and governments in an unbiased manner. That unbiased analysis is missing. Let's get some truth. I will be patient. I will not ask you anymore. What's your question? Let's get some truth. I could not read your question. Could you ask again? Sajid, the name of the guy in Tigrinya dialect, who made the donation is translated as rich man. Okay. Alex Awoke, today you're a little restrained. Sometimes you send the same message again and again. Please be careful. Today you are very restrained. Thank you for that. Samuel Kidane's question is very important. He says, uh, no, he retracted his message. Everything Isaias does makes no sense. How do you totally close university construction? Engesom photo. Yes, I agree. I think intention is that Isaias Wuki's government wants to have control on each and every resource, on each and every institution in Eritrea, denying the atmosphere for entrepreneurs, atmosphere flourishing of businesses. This is the main problem, and maybe mistrust as well between the government and the people. Morla funny videos. If Ethiopian government signs peace deal with Ola, do you think they will have more assets to go after Fano? Uh, Ola Ethiopian government talks. Is it about Fano or Eritrea? I don't think that Ethiopian government wants Ola to go after Fano. But if Ola makes peace with the government, what will happen? It means that ENDF can relocate thousands of its stops from Oromia to Amhara. ENDF is overstretched, deployed in Amhara. I did a video. I just spoke a little about that a few minutes ago. That there is a huge deployment there, overstretched. Abraham Ballet acknowledged. In Oromia, to deployed for years. In Somali region, deployed to protect against the Al Shabaab fighters. Deployment in BG to protect Benishangal, to protect GERD, Renaissance Dam. Deployment in Volkayat Mera Sagade, sensitive area, and several other locations too. So ENDF, if conflict goes on in the Amhara region, ENDF will have to withdraw from some fronts. It cannot withdraw from Somali region. It cannot withdraw from Volgayat. It can't withdraw from GERD. It can withdraw from Oromia to be deployed to Amhara if Ola makes peace with the government. One aspect. Second aspect is that maybe Abiy's position internally is weak now. He is facing lack of allies, shortage of allies, shortage of people behind him, groups behind him. So he wants to create a unity, at least the extent of Amhara region, so that he can get support from Amhara region. I don't see Ola becoming involved in Amhara against Fano. Yes, if Fano enters Amhara, if Fano enters Oromia, we could see involvement of Ola. But even that would be a big relief for Ethiopian National Defense Force if it can relocate its troops from Oromia to Amhara, and Ola gives free passage to military to be relocated to Amhara region. 55 minutes have passed. I think time is up. We should end this live chat session. I respond to your questions. One last comment from Titi Valdo. Sajid, pro-government support him because they care for their country, which is completely under his control. And he's the less evil with regards to safeguarding the country, though not without concern. I think pro-government people are blackmailed too. Sometimes they have problems. They have relatives, they have families. If they start opposing the government, their loved ones in Eritrea back home could suffer. Lots of issues. And some pro-government diaspora community came to Europe, America, uh, after Ethiopia Eritrea war. This generation